Dismantled, an Atomic Bomb is an album that has all the usual U2 themes of God, politics, and desire, but particularly strong in this album are the themes of love and loss.
My father had died, and Irish people are not great at dealing with grief. You know, they just don't admit to it. My mother died when I was 14, and we never spoke about her in the house. She was a bit mad, Irish males. And my father died a few years ago, and I thought I was fine with it. I thought it was okay, but you'd find yourself walking down the street and, you know, tears run down your face, or just, you know, doing stupid stuff, actually. Having that extra drink, and I thought there's something wrong with me, and that's what I started writing about.
You can hear that in the album, and it's interesting because when I started reading what critics were writing, you know, critics would write, this particular song made me cry, and it even made me cry, and I'm not sentimental. Do you know which song I'm talking about? I think you must.
I can only imagine that you're talking about Sometimes You Can't Make It On Your Own. Yeah, it's a hard song to sing. And, you know, I had a strange relationship with my father. I don't want to talk too much about my father, but Dublin male thing, and we didn't always see eye to eye, but he had a great tenor voice, and he loved opera. Working class man, he loved opera. He'd stand in front of the stereo with my mother's knitting needles, you know, conducting the stereo. And in that song, there's a note I hit. I think the line goes, I know that we don't talk, but can you hear me when I sing? And I sing this line, and I feel him very strongly, and I can feel. It's hard to sing, and it's hard to even hear it. It's a very emotional, so it turned into a very personal album. Not what we were looking for, I think it's fair to say. We weren't looking for that kind of album, but the album you get and the album you want are often very different.
Your longevity and navigating your way through this rock star world that really doesn't value adult behavior, but you guys have really become these very respectable, you know, men. You're grown men in a world that doesn't really want rock stars to be grown-ups, you know? How do you define, say, being an adult, masculinity?
Wow. Yeah, I might be asking the wrong...
Am I?
wrong member of the band. Larry.
Yeah, I think, you know, kind of defying gravity, sort of trying to hold it back. And we've always felt that people who write novels, make great films, all those people do their best work. Actors, you know, in their late 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s. And we're kind of the same. We're just getting to know what the job is. And it's not, as I said earlier, it's not about craft, but actually starting to understand, okay, that's how that works. I think ageism is overrated. And, you know, I don't, you know, we've got the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame coming up and people going, you know, how do you feel about that? And I feel shy about it. You know, I'm not ready to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm not ready to be in the, you know, icon. You know, that's not where we live. We live in a competitive world.
Self-respect is important. Respectability is not important to me. Well, there's a certain integrity that we have because we haven't betrayed our principles and our audience. And there's a certain weight that comes when you've been around. The original blues guys, they had weight. Muddy Waters, you would not mess with Muddy Waters. Weight. You know, you respect wisdom, yes. Respect age, no. Respectability, who cares? I'm an artist. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come into your house and, you know, rob your fridge, steal your television set, and sleep in your bed.
Word is that after this next world tour, U2 will be the richest rock band in history. Now, we all know that they're savvy businessmen, but with the promotion of this particular album, some people were confused. They were asking things like, why are U2 premiering their songs in shows like The OC and CSI? As well, what's with the iPod thing?
So over this kind of, you know, we're precious and we're true to our roots, man, and, you know, like, you know, we don't, we won't let our music go here, we won't do that. And I think, you know, you got to be careful what you do with your music. But this idea of, you know, we're not into corporations and we don't want to be on the radio. I mean, we want to be on every TV show. We want to be on every radio show. That's what we want. That's why we do this.
We used the Apple commercials like a video channel, like we're talking to you now. And people who wouldn't have heard our music heard it. The fact that we didn't ask for money, we wanted to do it because we think Apple's cool. But even if they had paid us, it doesn't matter. There is a culture of lies in white rock and roll that you don't get in hip-hop, you don't get in other jazz or other areas, where people won't own up to their ambitions. Okay, so they pretend, yeah, man, I'm just a punk rocker here, you know, and all I love is the music. Wrong. If you love your music, you're going to want to communicate. It's about communication. That's why you formed a band. No one forms a band unless they want to be the Beatles or the Rolling Stones or the Sex Pistols or the Clash or Nirvana. You know, no one forms a band. If you want a private little experience, you can become a potter. Go buy yourself a potter's wheel. Go f off. And so now it's about getting your songs across without compromising your ideals.
We're signed to a corporation. You know, Universal Music, there isn't a record company I know that's totally independent. You know, that's where we live. And so I get a pain in my ass sometimes listening to this, you know, I want to keep it real. You know, go work in a coal mine, then keep it real.
Selling out, I'll tell you what selling out is. Selling out is doing something that is naff for money. Okay, that's it. It's a leftover from the 60s, which is a sort of, you know, it's your grandmother's idea that you don't hang out with corporations, you know. But hold on, we are a corporation. U2, we always call ourselves, we say, we're a gang of 4, but a corporation of 5. Taking care of business is cool where we live. In Dublin, in Ireland, that's cool. And we've always been good at it.
My job is to produce, if you like, the business environment. And what makes managing U2 interesting is that they are still so ambitious for the quality of what they do. And they try to, you know, they really work very hard at making great records. If they weren't as ambitious for the quality of the records, I think, you know, I don't think we'd go much further.
We work with corporations, whether it's Much Music as part of a corporation, or whether it's Clear Channel, or whether it's, you know, everywhere we look. That's not the issue. And by the way, whether you do or you don't, in the end, it's really about, is the song any good? Because whatever philosophy that you tend, you know, you hold to, you just hold it up to. It's about the songs. It's not, in the end, it's how good are they?